A quick note before we get into the episode. Oversharing is a podcast for entertainment purposes only. It is not a medical podcast and does not constitute medical or psychological advice. Always seek the advice of your physician or mental health professional. Hello and welcome back to Oversharing. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Dr. Naomi Bernstein.
So bittersweet to be back with you virtually this Monday.
You're sitting in my chair. That was my chair.
Yes.
It was awesome.
Yes.
It has a little headrest. I really need to get one of those. That was me doing therapy last week.
Like
sitting
back, a little too comfy.
Relaxing with that thing right behind the nook of my neck. That's a good chair. I have to get one of those.
It's not that stylish, but it does provide very good back support. So, it's all a trade-off.
I'm a big fan of function over fashion, personally.
I am as well, like almost I think both of us sometimes like to a fault.
Yeah.
Like I remember my friend Liza's is like stylist and I'd just be like, I just want to wear like the most comfortable thing possible. She's like, well, how about like a healthy medium where like you can't walk 5 miles in these shoes, but like you can walk in them.
Right. No, totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
and they're
crazy.
A little cuter.
Yes, totally. I'm a big fan of elastic waist pants. Once you go there, like when you're pregnant and you do elastic waist pants, it's like hard to get back. I've really never gotten back there.
You've never looked back?
I've never looked back. No, every now and then when I get really dressed up, I'll do a button and a zipper.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, we had such a fun week.
It was
10 days.
Awesome. It was really, really nice. So what was the debrief? Was it too much for you? So for those of you guys who don't know, we stayed with Jordana and Mike for 10 days. It was a long stay. They say fish and guests start to stink after 3 days. So we tripled that.
No, here's the thing. My overall experience is that I loved it. It was very fun to like see everyone. You get like definitely like a deeper level of bonding when you're living with people.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is a lot more like, I think the thing, and again, it was you for 10 days and then it was our brother Josh and his kids for like 5 days and our brother John also for 5 days. So I think it's more like, the only downside I think is that you're like, you're with, 10 other people.
Right.
And I think there's like, it's funny because I always thought of myself as like messy and type B, but I guess maybe with my house, I'm like a little bit more like, ooh, like,
well, it's brand new too.
Right. But I don't want to be like that bitchy aunt who's like, stop dribbling the ball in my house. Like, do you know what I mean? So what I remember saying to like, all the kids was like, why don't we go outside? Why don't we dribble? Why don't we throw the basketball outside? Why don't we play hide and seek, not in the new cabinets?
Right. Totally. Well, that's probably my fault because we have a ball playing house. I'm like into sports and athletic and we have a big foyer, like entryway, and some people put a cute table with like knickknacks, and I just put nothing in there and they play ball in the house. So they are probably
self-made court.
Yeah, self-made court.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's probably my fault that they think it's okay to play ball in the house.
It's okay.
So we can have that discussion. But yeah, I can feel it's a lot.
No, but it was great. It's like, again, I think like I loved having everyone. It was, again, you get like a full deeper level, I think, of like knowing what's going on in everyone's lives and what their deal is and what they do and what they, like.
Right.
It's funny. Jared asked me like if there was anything about like your and Jeff's parenting style that I
good question.
discovered or something like that. I think I kind of like knew your drill. I feel like I think you're very into like making sure that they're out and about and like not on their phones.
Yes.
Which I think is great, but it's funny because like your kids are almost making fun of you because you were like you're like about to work and you're like, why don't you go outside and count butterflies? Like, see how many butterflies you can count. And then I went on the hike with like Jeff and the kids, and they're like literally making fun of you. They're like,
Right.
okay, there's a butterfly. Like, tell mom. Like, tell mom we got. Or like, we're gonna make up that we spotted 8 butterflies.
Right.
But it's cute. Yeah.
It is true. And it's an interesting dynamic, I think, too. And this works for our episode that we're going to record right now and the Calm the Fuck Down episode. I think there is just such a social awareness. At least I have that, a social awareness of like everyone else's experiences, what other people are thinking and feeling. So it's like when we were in the house and we were hanging out, I'm kind of like thinking, okay, is this too much? Do you guys need more alone time? And then when we went out and we were gone, I'm like, do you think that we're like using you for your house and we're not hanging out enough? So I found myself like overanalyzing a bit of like what your experience was with us being around, not being around.
That's funny. I kind of had the same sort of feeling, I think, in like the opposite way.
Right.
I think. Where I'm like, am I being like, welcoming and friendly enough? And then and then like sometimes there were moments where I was like, okay, there's a lot of people here. I am like a little overwhelmed. Just because I'm used to just me and Mike.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know what I mean? It's fun. And it's like the game night. I mean, you weren't there for the game night, but it was like, it's just so fun, especially like as your kids are getting older. Like I was with some friends who were kind of like, they have daughters and they're like very afraid of them getting to like those teenage years. I think they've heard like really bad. And I'm like, no, my nieces are here and they're like awesome. Like it's so fun. They like talk to you about like real things and they have these like whole lives and these like personalities that are like super developed. And they're just like that way because you're like their like aunt that's like probably they think of as like fun. Like they're probably a nightmare not next to you. I'm like, I don't know. I think they're pretty
you know what?
Cool. Yeah.
I'm very lucky. They're really good. They're funny and they're interesting and they share and
helpful.
Helpful.
Maybe that's just for me. Who knows?
No, they are. I mean, I have to bribe them to be helpful. So they're not just intrinsically helpful, but if they
were
want
helpful
things,
to me, you weren't there. They were
good.
Like, how can I help with the barbecue prep? Lila told you, she was like, what can I bring out? I was like, that's so sweet. At 13, I would not be doing any of that.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah. So they're great. Everyone, it was great. It was like you know what I mean? It's funny. Like, and when everyone, towards the end, when everyone was there, I was like, oh, it'd be nice to like have the house back or just like maybe things just like everywhere, like a little neater or whatever.
Right.
Which is again, not like a thing to you. I think just a feeling, but then everyone left and I was like, oh, this sucks. Like,
oh, how was Ronnie after we left? I didn't ask.
He was so sad for a little bit. He was really sad.
Yeah.
It was better for me though, because he would wake up at 5:30 in the morning, just feeling when you guys were here, being
ready
like
to play.
thinking someone was hanging out. He would go and cry and bark outside your doors, like wanting to like have you hang out. And then when you left, he slept in a little bit.
Right. He was probably exhausted from that.
He probably thought he was he's like, I've been entertaining for 10 days. But it was really cute. Yeah. To watch him with the kids. He was like, it felt like he really thought he was one of them. Like they would be like running around and he'd be like running around with them.
So cute.
It was very, very cute. So
it was a really good time.
Please come back. It was lovely.
All right, we'll come back in
Maybe November.
It was really fun. And it's crazy spending, I was there fully almost 2 weeks, all that time in New York. My New York accent came back, which I didn't even realize that I have, but I guess in Texas, like if you go to Florida or something like that, it's probably not as noticeable. But from New York to Texas, like I came back and within the first 2 days of coming back, I had 3 people asking me, oh, where are you from?
That's really funny.
And that never happens except for right after I got back from New York. It's so...
what kind of words?
It's, I don't do the R's as much. Like, I'm not going to be like, where's the, refrigerator? Like I don't talk.
Yeah, I mean that would be a pretty drastic change, right?
Right. I don't talk like that, but it's the A's. So we went to meet the teacher night at the school, and I was talking to the Spanish. Lila's taking Spanish. I was talking to her Spanish teacher, and I said something like, "She's always wanted to take Spanish, always wanted." And I guess in Texas, it's more like wanted. Like she's always
Huh.
she's always wanted.
Wanted.
Or there's a lot of words like that I like orange instead of orange or
What I say orange. Orange is like New York.
yes.
Oh, that's
Orange is
funny.
like everywhere else in the world.
Oh, that's
Or
funny.
even names like they have a friend, his name is Harrison, but they
Yeah.
don't call him Harrison. They call him Harrison.
Harrison. Wow. Yeah, I would
Harrison.
never say that. That's so funny.
So if I say, oh, did you see Harrison? They're like, who's Harrison? Harrison.
Well, that sounded
Harrison.
very New York, right? Yeah.
So anyway, that came right back, which is crazy. It's like a subconscious comfort thing.
You're back. You're
but,
back.
You know, it's funny because part of me fights it almost like I don't want it. And I think after spending time in New York, I really do love it there. It is my home. It's my heart.
Mhm.
It's where I grew up and spent the majority of my life. So I'm kind of like, all right, if I have a New York accent, let it be. Like a lot of times I'll fight against it. Like it's not refined. It's not, you know, elite. And
what's refined? The Texas accent's refined?
Right.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's kind of cool. I mean, I have a neighbor. She's from like Tennessee, and she speaks very differently than anyone. I think it's kind of cool. I'm like, that's
people
part
are
of who
nice
you
about
are.
it. Yes.
Yeah, it's part of who you are. That's like part of what makes you.
But it's my own. I think I've always kind of fought against that Long Island accent thing.
Right. Well, the Long Island one in New York and Long Island are a little different. Like Long Island definitely
Long Island. It's got to be Long Island. I didn't grow up in the city. It's Long Island.
I think they're similar to the city.
Harrison had an orange in Florida.
You don't sound like that. Don't worry. I would tell you.
Anyway. All right.
That's funny. All right. Well, let's get into our episode. This was fun. And yeah, come back. It'll be
all right. We will be back. Don't worry. The house is amazing. You guys are awesome. It's just it was a great time.
You have an open invitation.
All right. You heard it here.
Yes, it's on literal recording. So just show up. All right, let's get into it. If you guys have a voicemail, you can leave us a voicemail at 646-363-6294, or you can email us at oversharing@betchicist.com. If you're a subscriber, there's 2 subscriber episodes, bonus episodes a month. And you can listen ad-free and a day early. We have a new subscriber feedback episode that's already out. And that comes out the subscriber bonus episodes come out the 2nd and 4th Thursday of every month. Or you can join one of Dr. Naomi's therapy groups. How do they do that?
Go to naomibernstein.com. Check out, get all the information on the groups, especially after today's episode. And I think the Calm the Fuck Down episode, you're going to hear a lot about how to navigate these social situations and be the right thing to everybody at the right time. And one of the great things about the groups is it's come as you are. You can come when you're cranky. You can come when you're feeling full of energy to give and support. You can come when you want to stay quiet. It's a beautiful place. Just come as you are. No social etiquettes other than just being kind and nice.
Yes. And you don't know these people in the real world. So there's even if they judge you, they don't know anyone you know. That's lovely.
Yeah, it's lovely. So naomibernstein.com. Come find a group, reach out. We'll match you up. And I hope to see you all there.
All right. Let's get into it. Okay. I'll read our first overshare. I love this one. Very relatable. Greetings, Dr. Naomi and Jordana. This podcast has been so helpful in my everyday life. I appreciate the balance of how to become more mindful and also learn skills on how to accept where I am and be realistic. It really has moved the needle on how I deal with my anxiety. Love to hear that. Mm-hmm. Here is my question. I am on so many group chats. I always have at least 12 going at once. Oh my God, it's a nightmare. They are things like book club, a winery I do seasonal work at, various friend groups, other couples my husband and I hang out with, etc. I cannot describe the anxiety this gives me. Of course, because it is a lot to keep up with, the expectation of a 24-hour turnaround and remembering the tone of each room and the hat I wear in that group. I can't help that it feels like public speaking with no preparation. Every response is being seen by 3 to 25 people. The cultures and belief systems are really different in each text chain. It's exhausting to need to respond and first scan my memory about what is the root norm and tone of each group. I will literally lose sleep remembering all of the sudden that I put my foot in my mouth, remembering what someone in the group is going through and how my comment relating to myself might be completely tone deaf. This type of interaction drains me and I really feel put out by it. I tried to get out of several, but everyone was irritated to have to remember to keep me in the loop and then often just gave up. Or they would slowly start adding people back to our one-on-one chats. The people and activities attached to these chats are great, but constantly being on public display is miserable to me. How do I interact in this environment and just realize I may upset and offend people or get over being left out? How do I engage less and not feel guilty that I'm not following the expectations of modern etiquette? Help. An over-texted Betch.
So relatable.
Yes.
I
In the
think
age of group chats.
Yes. Everyone's going through this and probably feeling social, like you're socially. I hear from a lot of people that socializing feels very draining sometimes. And this isn't even like actual socializing. This is just group chat
Right.
at home. And then you have to get dressed and go out and do real socializing on top of this. I think we're really not meant to be caretaking so many people's emotions at one time. Like 25-person group chat or even a 6-person group chat, to be able to remember what everyone's going through and cater your responses to make sure you're not triggering anybody or being aware of what. It's just it's a lot, and it's very exhausting. I can totally relate, and I think many people can.
Totally. I think group chat culture, even if you're in like 3, can just feel like, it just can feel a little bit like, at least when you go to a social interaction, and sure, everyone has some level of social anxiety, you leave and then you're like done.
Mm-hmm.
Like it can sort of feel like a never ending party that you have to be on for.
Yes.
And I think that's what can feel really draining about all these chats. Like, even like we have one with our siblings, right? And like most of the time it's fun. And then sometimes it's like a lot. And even with our siblings who like obviously like I'm comfortable with, I'm like, am I participating enough in this chat? Am I answering everyone? And I think you can feel that way about a lot of these things, but you can't leave. That's passive aggressive.
Right.
And it's funny because I sometimes think in various friendship group chats I'm in, like if someone's never speaking in the group chat, do they like not really want to be there?
Yes.
But then now I'm reading this and I'm like, maybe they're just really anxious about saying the wrong thing, so they don't say anything.
Yes, totally. And I think you have to honor yourself in this. If you're never responding, that's one thing. But I do, one piece of advice that you could do is kind of like when you're feeling energized or if you have a bunch of time on your hands, like if you're sitting on a train, or you can kind of like save it all up, leave them, mark them as unread. And then when you're on a train ride or you're waiting for something or your tank is full and you're feeling connected, you almost that moment where you're like, oh, it's Friday night and I have no plans. Like maybe I'll interact in the group chat. Like I'm feeling like socializing in this moment.
That's when no one answers.
Right. But at least exactly, because they're probably out doing real socializing. But that's your moment when you're feeling like socializing. So you can, at least weigh in or put your, not be the person that's never responding. But I do agree that, I think there is pressure sometimes to respond that minute. And that is really hard because that, like she said, it feels like public speaking with no preparation, especially in these bigger group chats.
Or there can be like some diffusion of responsibility where like someone says something and you don't really have much to say, but you're like, oh, there's 14 other people. If they relate to this comment, they'll answer.
Yes.
But then maybe everyone thinks that no one answers. And then if you're the person that sent that message, then you feel like a loser. So there's so many different things that I think can be anxiety provoking about these chats. And I mean, I do this with all of my chats is I have them on like, I don't get like notifications.
Right. Like
when
muted or whatever. The equivalent. Right.
Right. So like, again, I'll like look when I have like time to read the whole thing. Sometimes that backfires and you have like 150 messages to read.
Right.
And you can just decide not to read it. But one thing that struck me about this person in particular's email is like, it does feel like she feels the need to put on a certain version of herself for different people, which makes me think maybe she doesn't feel like whoever her true self is like enough for all these things. And I do think like if you feel like you need to be a different person for your seasonal winery or your book club, like maybe you're not really showing up as your authentic self. And like, I think it's better to show up as your authentic self and not click with as many people or potentially offend someone who again might be very sensitive and just might not be like a good match as a friend for you, than to be trying to be a different version of yourself. That sounds particularly exhausting, to be like, try to be a specific version of yourself for various different people.
Yes, totally agree. I do think that it is important. Your social interactions are supposed to be fueling and energizing. They're supposed to fill your tank. Maybe it is important to stop and ask yourself, why am I doing these things? And she says the in-person interactions she likes. It's just the text interactions. And so the other thing she can do is she can say, just not really respond if it feels exhausting, or she feels like she has to, over text be a version of herself that doesn't feel like is her. In person, she enjoys it. Over text, she doesn't. I think you could just own it also and just maybe back off, not respond as much. And then at some point you could say, yeah, group chats are not my forte or whatever. Something that's just kind of like, sorry for not really interacting. Love you guys. Can't wait to see you. But the group chats are overwhelming at some point, in some way, whether it's in person or, individually, to just tell people like, this isn't my preferred method of communication, but I want to be part of things. Stay on it so you get the information. Like she said, she's tried leaving and then she feels left out. Like, you don't have to leave. You can read it and get whatever information you need to get. And when you feel good, respond. And when you don't.
Totally. And I find that a simple use the best thing that text ever invented was the reaction buttons. So like a haha when someone says something funny, a like when someone gives a plan, and I'll be there when they give a certain time. Like that's really all you like. There are certain people who love the like, we're making jokes and we're getting back and we're doing like an inside joke and we're like, that's not really where I like to bond with people.
Right.
So there's a lot of chats where I'm just like liking the message or saying I'll be there or saying I can't make it. And I'm saving my like personality for the in-person situation. That's kind of like, even our family chats. I'm not like a super participant. Like there's people who like love that. They love like getting everyone's opinion on something. I'm kind of like, I want the logistics and like we'll talk on the phone or I'll see you in person.
Yeah. And if you have a particularly funny thing to say that feels like quick and comes easily, then you say it. I've always felt this way about like posting pictures and captions, where it's like, and that's kind of when I stopped using social media, was when I would like post a picture and I thought it was cute and I wanted to put it up. And then I would be spending like 15 minutes thinking of a caption. I'm like, what? This is like a waste of my energy right now. Like, I don't want to be thinking of like the witty thing to say in this moment. And I think it's like, if you have something witty or funny and it comes right up and out, throw it out there. If you're racking your brain, then just let it go by. Use the reaction. I love those too, because it shows I'm here, I'm participating. I think some people think it's like not participating enough. So they almost don't want to just do that. So then they end up kind of doing nothing, then feeling guilty that they're not responding. There is a lot, like I have patients, a good number of patients that a lot of their guilt is around like not getting back to people over text, not responding enough to group chats. It's just a burden that we don't need. And I don't think anyone cares that much, unless the only thing I will say, if someone puts out in a group chat some kind of an emotional, heavy, personal kind of,
which I wouldn't do in a group chat, but some people do that.
Right. If someone's putting themselves out there
Yes.
Find a way to respond at some point. But if it's
Even
just,
if it's responding to them personally off of the group chat. I'll do that sometimes if someone's like does a big reveal of something and then I'm kind of like, let me just like message them something maybe a little more personal or meaningful on the side.
yes, totally. But I think other than that, if it's just chit chat, bantery stuff, and that's not for you, I think you can just, and if you feel the need to, when you meet in person with these people, you can say, sorry, I'm a little quiet on the group chat. It's just not my favorite way of communicating.
Right. Which like, why would it be everyone's? It's very funny because it's like, some people and the people who like it and are good at it, like a lot of people are good at like expressing themselves like through writing.
Right.
Or through text. Like they're very good at that. That's their preferred. And other people like just aren't. Like there's so many different ways of communicating.
And I do think it's mood dependent, which is why getting that in the middle of your day when you're not in the mood to do that's what feels draining. Like I think there are times I know for myself, and I think many people that I talk to, where you're like, "Ooh, this is fun. I'm into this. I'm just like in the mood to do this group chat right now." And I'm like happily sitting here chatting away. And then there's times you're like, this is the last thing I feel like doing. And that's okay.
Or you look at your phone and it's like you're in the middle of something and there's like 50 texts that you haven't read.
Right. So honor yourself. There's enough in this world to drain us that these group chats do not need to be part of it. And you are not responsible for other people's emotions. So if someone says something and you say something that was, you forgot that they, went through something.
Going through something.
Yeah. Oh, that's part. And again, this is why we do triggered. It doesn't always end up coming out that way, but like the point of triggered is to realize that like your triggers are your own stuff. If someone says, "Oh, I just, I love my new house. Like I'm so excited, blah, blah, blah." And you remembered that this person like put a bid on a house and didn't get it and they're upset and they couldn't move. And you saying, "I love my new house," triggers them. That's on them. They've got to work through that and figure that out. You didn't do anything wrong there. So if that's part of what's burdening you, is like it is very important for people to take responsibility for their own emotions, especially if it's something like a 5, 8, 10 person group chat.
Right. And I think as long as you know that you're doing your best and try and like being a nice person and not trying to offend anyone, like that's what you have to come back to. Like, I know who I am. If I did something, it was never intentional. And like, I know I'm even the fact that she's thinking about if something she said could upset someone who's like constantly saying things to upset people is not thinking like that.
Right. Yep. But that's big. People sitting and ruminating over, "Oh, I said that thing. And what if I offended that person?" And that takes up a lot of space for people also, or didn't say the thing. So cut yourself some slack. I agree. You're a good person. You're even thinking about all this. If you were not, you wouldn't even be writing it. So
totally agree. All right, let's do a Betchicist. We have one from a narc. Let's get in there.
All right, I will read this one. Okay. This is funny though. "Hi there. Love the pod. It's one of my absolute favorites. Writing in today with an ethical dilemma. Over the past weekend, my husband and I attended a concert on a Sunday evening. The concert was about 2 hours from where we live. We live in a smaller town. While we were in our seats, I saw a coworker with her husband also at the concert. They were walking back towards their seats a bit further away, so didn't get the chance to say hello. Otherwise, I probably would have said hi and chatted since this coworker and I regularly talk at work. I'm off on Mondays, so I come to work on Tuesday and this coworker chats me in the AM about something for work, and I follow up about the concert. See screenshot below."
All right, so why don't you be the person writing in and I'll be the coworker.
Okay, sounds good. "Morning. Thanks. Also, we saw you and blank at the blank concert on Sunday, LOL. You guys were far away. We saw you walking. Otherwise, would have said hello. And if it wasn't you, so sorry, LOL.
I was sick all weekend, so I don't think it was us, smiley face. But I do know I have a doppelganger out there. I've been hugged by strangers because of it, laughing emoji.
Ha 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 ha. No way.
Okay, that's the end of the text.
Okay. After she sends me this, I check the schedule and see that she called off work on Monday. I'm more than positive this was my coworker I saw at the concert. And there's no way her husband has a doppelganger as well. So she definitely lied to me and also did not come to work the day after. My husband recognized them as well, and he works with me and her also. At work, I hold more of a manager position, and this coworker has more of a junior position. I'm not her direct manager, but she does things for me occasionally. I'm curious your guys' thoughts if I should say anything to her direct manager or just leave it alone. This coworker is overall a great employee and she doesn't excessively call off. Part of me thinks I should leave it alone, but really dislike the dishonesty of the situation and lying to me. What do you guys think? Thanks for all your insight. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
I think this woman needs to like back off personally.
Yeah.
I get what she's like. I get why she'd be like, this is shady. And like, but here's the thing. She doesn't know 100% that it's her. Right. I mean, the way the coworker responded was like a little weird. And she goes, I don't think it was us. That's a little weird. Like, what do you mean you don't? It was either at the concert or you weren't at the concert.
Right.
Like,
right.
Like the normal thing to say would be like, oh, I didn't go to that concert.
Right. Because she went to the concert and it was her.
You think it was her?
Because the husband was the same too. If it was her alone, I'd be like, okay, maybe it was just someone that looked like her. It was her and her husband. I think she went. I think she lied right to her face, which is what's bothering her. Like, I think if she was just, if she,
it's just weird. She says, I don't think it was us.
I don't think it was us. And I have a doppelganger. Like, I just feel like when someone is peeing on your leg and telling you it's raining, it's so annoying. So I could see why I don't think she should snitch. I think she should let it go. But I could see why she wants to do something, because otherwise it just feels like you're just lying right to my face and I can't even call you out. There's nothing I can do about this. I just have to pretend that I don't think that you're just lying right to my face.
Well, I guess does she think she's lying for for a nefarious reason of like she got super hungover maybe and then called off of work on Monday and maybe called in as a sick day or lied about why she wasn't there. And then now someone's asking her, so she probably panicked and said she doesn't think it was us. Which is weird. I agree, but I'm kind of like, she said she's a good employee. Maybe she panicked and just kind of like didn't want to tell you that, and you're kind of her boss and she was afraid you were like, I guess to like admit it, she feels like might be worse for her, because then whatever she told her actual boss, which is probably that she was not feeling well,
right?
Maybe that they would question. And like, listen, is it the right thing to do? No, but like, has she hurt anyone in this situation? Like she didn't, I don't know. I kind of feel like what would be achieved by telling her manager this?
Right. Yes. If I could even see telling the manager if she has a history of lying and not showing up and not being responsible, you're kind of like, okay, here's an opportunity to hold her accountable for this repeated behavior that's not okay. But she's a good employee. She doesn't excessively call out. I definitely wouldn't say anything. And I hear your point of like, what else was she supposed to do if she did call out sick?
Right.
I mean, she could have just said sort of the truth. Yeah, I was there. I woke up sick the next morning and called out.
Yeah. Which wouldn't have been like absurd.
Yeah. Wouldn't have been absurd. I just think even this is like, I think the reason why gaslighters are so villainized, because there's something psychologically, like I think what's tweaking her is this psychological manipulation where she almost like what you're doing is like, maybe it wasn't her. Where she's like, no, it was definitely
You think it was definitely her? There's no chance that it wasn't her. Like that's, I guess my biggest fear, if I were this person writing in, my biggest fear would be like that I would try to get someone in trouble and it actually wasn't them.
Yes.
Like how many people should go free for one guilty person, whatever that saying is, to be like convicted. I'm kind of like, I'd rather her get away with it than like on the off chance that I'm some like super villain who's getting someone in trouble for something they didn't do.
Right. I hear you. And I would feel the same way if it wasn't her with her husband who looked like her husband and she looked like her. And this person's partner saw them both and works with them both and saw that it was them.
Right.
The idea that we're even talking about this is the reason why I think it's pissing her off, because it's like making you second guess your own
Sanity,
reality, which I think when someone makes you second guess your reality, it just really can throw off your entire sense of self, or like sense of, what's true and what's not, and can you trust yourself? And that's just not a good feeling. So I think that's what she's experiencing, and that's really, I think, at the root of why when some, like their expression, he lied to my face,
right?
It's almost like feels worse than if you lie to someone like behind, not right to their face, because when you lie to their face, you're having this moment with them that's like, it's your reality against mine, and I'm going to make you doubt that the reality that you saw was real. And that just is, it's upsetting.
Right.
So,
and she's seemingly lying for no reason is like the weird part.
Well, I guess she's afraid. She just has a guilty conscience. She knows that she probably, maybe they planned the whole time to stay overnight. It's 2 hours away. So maybe the whole time they planned to stay overnight, they got a hotel room. She knew she was going to just like wake up in the morning on Monday, call in sick. And she knows that. So she feels guilty about it versus just saying, yeah, I woke up in the morning and I didn't feel well. Maybe she wasn't hungover. Maybe they just wanted to go to the concert and stay the night.
Right. So maybe she's just a bad liar.
Yeah.
It's just so funny that she wouldn't just say, I wasn't at that concert. Oh, you know what? She probably told her boss that she was sick all weekend.
Right.
Maybe that was it.
Right.
She probably, when she explained it before she knew this woman spotted her, she probably said, I've been sick all weekend. So I needed to, and that's the part like that she probably already gave the excuse, and she can't walk it back and say, I was just sick on Monday. So she's afraid she's going to tell the boss that she was at the concert, so she couldn't have been sick all weekend.
Totally. Yeah. And look, I think even that line of thinking, you give her a little bit of credit that she's not the best liar, right? So maybe this isn't comfy for her. This isn't something she's used to. She's a good employee. I would let it go. If you really feel like you cannot let this go, you could approach her directly and be like, hey, I get it. It's not the biggest deal. If, you called out sick, maybe you woke up, you didn't feel well. I don't really need to know. But the fact that you lied right to my face is upsetting. In the future, I wish you could just trust that we could talk. Like, I'm not going to tell your manager. But that didn't sit well with me, that I know it was you and you lied right to my face.
Yeah. I guess the coworker is probably thinking like, I have two, like, okay, if I'm the coworker, I am at the concert. I'm drinking a lot. I never planned on going on Monday, but I didn't want to take a PTO day. So I called in sick, and then so I already called in sick on Monday. Now it's Tuesday. I'm back at work.
Right.
The other woman at my workplace has texted me now saying she saw me at the concert. I'm probably panicking, and I'm like, I can either tell her that I lied to the other coworker,
right,
or pretend I wasn't there. And I don't know. I mean, what would you do? Would you be like, hey, like I was like, yeah, that was me. Please don't tell anyone because I called in sick. Like that almost makes you look like you're worse and you're asking someone to lie for you.
Right.
I could sort of see why she would do
it. And why she did it. I hear it. I think if she was a better liar, she would just say, yeah, I went to the concert. I woke up on Monday. I really didn't feel well. Unless, like you said, she told her she was sick all weekend and then couldn't backpedal it. But yeah, I see it. She was stuck. Did she hurt anyone? No, she's a good employee. I'm sure most people occasionally take a mental health day or whatever you want to call it, where it's like, I'm not really sick.
We've all at least thought about that.
Right.
Yes.
So yeah, I would leave it alone.
I think if the astronomer CEO fair debacle has taught us anything, it's that you can't go to a big concert lying about
Yes.
something because there's just too many people there and it's too public. So
Totally.
if you're going to lie about stuff, go to a private party.
In
Go
someone's
to
house. Yes.
Yes.
I totally agree. If it's not a camera, you're going to get spotted. Yep.
Right. She
Lesson
didn't have to
learned.
say the doppelganger thing. That's like a little more annoying.
Yes.
Yeah.
When someone
I
like
agree.
elaborates on a lie, there's just something about that really feels not good. But this isn't your best friend. This isn't your sister.
That's true.
This is a random person. She lied to you. Move on.
And put it in her file and move on.
Yes.